Hello. So I'm gonna try something a little different. I've been thinking a lot about Patreon and SigaWeave, which I'm still working on, um, but I've also got these other projects that often get in the way, and that I'm actually pretty close to catching up on. But I think I want to open up Patreon not only to just the SigaWeave project, but to other projects as well, and maybe just more stuff in the studio too. I think. That it was motivating for me for a while to try and dedicate Patreon to just that. But I think that I want to go sort of all or nothing with Patreon at this point. Um, it's an interesting addition to the income stream and to all the marketing and networking and self promotion one has to do on the internet as an artist these days, which honestly I also have uh, a bit of a tough time with, especially the past, say the past 5 or 6 years, since politics and culture and society and social media have gotten so vitriolic and angry and polarized, and it honestly makes me want to disengage from all of it. I've I've had to really step away from a lot of people who I otherwise quite like. I'm quite fond of people that I would consider friends under a lot of other circumstances are often so angry or polarized or unwilling to drop certain subjects. I know I've had a number of people with whom I've said like, listen, I just don't even want to talk about that. Can we focus on the things that we have in common? And people have been unable to do it, and I'm not even mad. I just don't want to be around it. I don't. It doesn't. It doesn't make me enjoy life. Which is, as far as I'm concerned, the only reason that we're here. So anyway, with that said, I think hopefully now that I do have all of the preparations for winter taken care of, an awful lot of stuff between the bees and getting the fireplace ready and insulating the house, taking care of the garden, stashing food, stacking firewood, a lot of things I had to do. And now I'm feeling that there's a bit of a clear space, which feels good. So I'm going to show you this other piece that I'm working on, which is the next really big thing I got to get out of my way. And it's a sword. It is a saber, and it's inspired by an original. I'll see if I can't figure out how to show you a picture of the original. Splice it in there somehow. That's another thing. I really need to start upping my video production game and music as well, my musical recording game, because that all ties into the SigaWeave thing. So here we are. It's a saber inspired by the original. As a matter of fact, I can show you something that's fun. Let's see how these kind of informal videos end up going. Here's the original drawing that I did documenting the original in the museum. So I am close to a museum. It's called the Sullivan Museum. And it's part of Norwich University. And Norwich is it's one of the most famous military academies. It's like kind of second to like West Point or something, except that it's private and it's right over the mountain. As soon as the snow builds up, it's about a half hour, 45-minute drive, but right now it's about 20. I can go over the mountain. And there is another drawing of this somewhere. Anyway, so I went to the museum and documented the original, traced it, drew it, measured it. I measured out balance points and thicknesses that are on the other drawing that I can't find at the moment, but they had commissioned me just before all the COVID crazy. They had commissioned me to make an inspired by that they could use in ceremonial things, opening and closing of the year and things. Like the president can stand up there with a sword that's inspired by one that's in their collection that was owned by Alden Partridge, who founded Norwich University, and it's probably revolutionary to just past Revolutionary War era, and near as we can tell, was probably made in Massachusetts, which was kind of encompassed all of New England at the time. Anyway, so I've got the blade, and I've honed that down pretty close to the original. Very nicely heat treated, super flexy. I got a thin just a little bit out here, get down to close to 1 millimeter, and finish polishing, and then etch it. It has a nice Damascus pattern, and one of the things that was interesting was that the original also had probably not an intentional Damascus pattern, but it was a refined high carbon bloom steel, and in a certain light, when you look down, you could actually see that there were layers. And what was also fun about that was that was something the curators of the museum hadn't noticed. So I have a nice pattern that's inspired by that in the spine of this, and then a homogeneous edge going along. When that edges, it'll be really pretty. But where we're at right now is getting this hilt together. So the original looked like it was more or less cast in one big piece and gold plated. But my casting setup is not going to do that. So I'm casting it up in little pieces here. And then I'm going to either solder those together or rivet. It's on the wrong side. That's got more pressure to it than I recall. Oh, no, that's back. All right, well, I'll deal with that later. Anyway, it fits together right now a bit like a puzzle. So I've got the hilt. The original has this nice shield motif here. And then on the back, the original also had a shield motif, but I get some artistic license. So I'm going to turn that into the tail feathers of the eagle. Not sure what kind of... Is he an eagle? Is he a falcon? I don't know. Why does he have a hat? There's some very strange questions about this particular... I'm calling him Sam the Eagle from the Muppets. So that fits right on there. Now the original actually had this loose shield probably covering exactly this thing, which was to lighten it. Because that would be a lot of bronze if it was one solid piece. And make it easier to carve and do the fitting. So I've got this shield that on the chest fits just like the other one too. And then we've got Sam the Eagle's head going on right here. And Sam the Eagle's funny little hat, which, like I said, the original had this funny hat. And what I'm doing right now, there's the texture. What I'm doing right now is carving in this texture that's very similar to the originals and blending it into the head and neck joint, which was not there on the original. So I can either solder that and gold plate over it, or I can blend it into the point where it looks fine and I just leave it alone. We'll see what happens there. So he's perched on this thing, and so you can see on the back, I'm going to blend that in with the tail feathers. Still carve all the details on the body. And then I'm going to Lost Wax cast that in multiple pieces and affix them together. Here's also, Norwich has a tradition of using garnet in things like signet rings. So I found these nice, these nice pear-shaped garnets that I can use to do eyeballs. So I'll have to make a little basket setting with prongs and set that, but then it's going to go, let's see if we can do this without dropping the garnet. You can kind of see that. I'm not going to tilt it more because it will fall out. Wait a minute, can we do this? Let's see, this is going to be the joys of doing more video production. Look at everything. Well, anyway, you get the point. It's going to be garnets there. So that's what I'm trying to wrap up in the next couple weeks, honestly. Interesting also. I did try playing with some different carving techniques to get little feather motifs going, but this is different from the original, but I think I'm going to stick with the original. If I tap here, do you want to focus there? No. You want to adjust the light, though. All right, well, we'll figure that out. So that's what I'm doing. And those are my thoughts on Patreon and moving forward. I got to be honest. I've been in a... Well, it's time for Decide Your Sip. Okay, here we go. I'm not going to say that I've been in a depressed place since all of the COVID stuff hit, but I've been in a sort of secure, withdrawn place, and not honestly out of fear of the disease. At first, it seemed kind of frightening, but the more I learned about it, for me personally, I don't feel like it's a high risk. I understand that for a lot of other people that's different, but everyone just got so angry and so polarized, and then everything shut down. And I kind of didn't mind. I've always wanted to be a little bit of a hermit living in the woods. I have like a really strong 20% extrovert side. Like you may have seen that in the Arctic fire stuff. I mean, we can turn that on and it's there, but the other 80% gets really, really comfortable. Just living in the woods. I got cats and bees and chickens, and I've got a couple really good friends that I see on a very regular basis. And other than that, I go to the post office and the grocery store. When I miss the pubs, I really miss the Irish session that I used to go to once a week. That has started back up, but for me personally, and again, this is one of those things that people want to argue about. So I'm just going to put it on the table and don't argue with me. I don't want to get the shot yet. I don't think it's a positive, net positive for me personally in my age group, in my physical health. Were I older, that decision might change. Had I other conflicting health issues, that might change. But as a result of that decision, I right now can't really go do anything social if I wanted to. Like, all the pubs are wanting, ID cards for vax, and all the session does, and so I'm just gonna hold out, and keep being happy in my hermitage. But at the same time, I feel like I'm in a good place to focus now. Oh, can you hear the rooster outside? So hopefully I'll do more of this. I've got to probably up the video game and video editing. I'm going to redo the mead video, make it shorter, edit it more succinct, and add more details. So I would like to keep doing that. And I really think I should start doing Viking mead reviews and sample some commercial meads and talk about them. I think that would be fun. Could be some good content. And get up on the music and the music recording, like I said, with the session that I haven't gone to now in a year and a half or whatever. My music has fallen a little bit by the wayside. So pushing that into self-produced, multi-track, multi-instrument recording for things, I think is a direction I can go in that might rekindle my love for music. Though I got to be honest, a big part of my love for music was the session itself, and the people, and the tunes, and the pints, and the general thing. It's sad in that the session that has started back up is now much shorter and earlier. It loses some of, for me, a session should be a late night, slightly tipsy, and generally rowdy affair. There's one in Montpelier, and the music is really great, and it gets a little few too many musicians for my liking. People want to go on and on about how much they don't like more than one musical accompaniment instrument in Irish traditional. But to my mind, once you get more than 4 fiddles, or certainly more than 1 uilleann pipe, all bets are off. That's going to blow it just as bad as a couple guitars banging away wrong. Whatever. But it's Sunday afternoon, and there's not even beer there. It's in a cafe with coffee and chocolate, and a stuffy Sunday afternoon with coffee and chocolate playing tunes. No, that's not working for me. Anyway, it's winter. We'll get through it. Cheers. I am now going to go work on this sword, and maybe later I'll get into some of my carving stuff and film again, but I need to get into the workflow now. And thanks if you're watching this as a Patreon supporter. Thank you very much, by the way. You've gotten me through the past 2 years, and It means a lot. And like I said, I've been struggling with the Patreon issue a little bit. And I think that the right thing to do is to kick it up a notch and just add more content like this. We'll see how that goes. All right.